What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Nintendo Weekend. Yes, how are you guys? Hopefully, you guys are having a really great day today. Listen, like I promised yesterday, we're gonna be continuing Perseverance. Now, real quick, before we left off the last week, we went to the cabin. Right, we went to the cabin. We saw a strange lady that was apparently a test subject to everything, and we know that there's like somebody looking for her. So without further ado, let's see where this story leads off. Saturday, 9:13, inside the cabin. That night I slept like a baby. To my own surprise, I woke up fresh and energetic, which rarely is the case. It didn't take me long to realize why. When I looked out the window, I noticed the sun was already high. I must have been out for at least 10 hours, which meant I had wasted my first day. No animal I was interested in would be active in the middle of the day. I opened the window to let the fresh air. A cool breeze carried the smell of pine cones and wet moss, stirred a feeling of nostalgia. However, I couldn't dwell on it for long. I heard the barking again. The dog to be had still be out here somewhere. What's wrong with the damn mutt? I closed the window, but it got me thinking. Why would a dog be out here? I decided to go check it out. Leaving it like this would be dangerous, especially if the dog was aggressive. Stumbling upon it during a hunt could end badly. I grabbed the pocket knife from the shelf and my bag with Natalie's sandwich. The stuff I had bought at the gas station was still inside. I took my rifle too. If the dog had rabies or some other disease, it would fall on me to do something. It would fall on me to do something about it. Armed, I left the cabin. Saturday, 13:47, the forest. Following the barking was difficult. I couldn't use any of my usual tracks, so I walked into the forest blindly. However, the dog went silent. I was left without a clue where to go. So I just waited patiently for it to start making noise again. Can't say I really minded in the end. A chance to spend time surrounded by nature was the reason why I had to come here in the first place. Fortunately, but oddly at the same time, it seemed that the dog wasn't moving at all, like it was just sitting there, still barking the whole day. Wandering through the forest took me almost 2 hours. It must have been long past noon when I finally found it. Oh. I had expected many things, but not what I saw. Instead of a stray mutt roaming around it, it was a dangerously looking hound tied to a tree. He was a magnificent beast, big and sturdy. I didn't know much about dogs, but even I could recognize a purebred when I saw one. Looked like he had spent at least a couple of days in the forest. He was a bit dirty, but still healthy and strong. There was bloody wounds on his neck. The collar must have been cut his skin when he was struggling to get himself free. Some bastard must have left him here to die. If I laid my hands on the guy who did this, even just thinking about it made me furious. Someone decided to leave an animal to starve here to death, like he could have left it in the shelter. And why? Out of shame? Because it was long. It was a long drive. These were all trivial, yet there we both were. Oh, hey there, buddy. Okay, listen, little douche. Oh, okay, easy now, easy. I tried to approach the dog, but it turned out more difficult than I had expected. I had to focus on keeping all my fingers intact. First of all, I had to free him somehow. Touching the collar was out of the question. Tinkering with it at this point would cause him to so much pain. Cutting the rope seemed to be a better option, but I couldn't do it without getting closer to the dog. I needed to somehow gain his trust. Okay, approach the dog from the side. Damn, I don't know. From the side, head on. I mean, I think we're gonna go from the side, right? I didn't want him to make him feel more threatened than he already was. That's why I decided not to rush things and slowly approached him from the side. He seemed tense and alert, but didn't make any move. can't say it was a big progress, but hey, at least there was no growling this time. Then he looked at me, baring his fangs. This wasn't the way to go after all. I had to start from the beginning. Okay, so I had to approach the dog head on. With the rope tied to his neck, I could more or less predict how far the dog could reach. That's why I decided to approach him head on. In the worst case scenario, I would just get out of his range. It was a poor choice. He didn't attack me, but he definitely felt threatened, for he took a step back and bared his teeth, wrinkled his nose. I could see it in his eyes that he didn't want to fight me, but he knew that he cannot run away. If I got any closer, he would snap. Um, avert his gaze, because I think looking at a dog's eyes, that means that it's like a threat to them. I think. I didn't want him to feel challenged, so I gave him space by averting my gaze. I was still a little worried about how he would react, so I watched him from the corner of my eye, ready to back off if needed. But it seemed the dog finally gained some confidence. He started to wag his tail timidly alongside the fear. I caught a glimpse of curiosity. The fangs were still there, but more as a reminder rather than a weapon ready to be used. He was waiting for me for my next move. I finally got my chance. We were still far from friendly terms, but that was about to change. I reached for my bag and opened it slowly. The lovely smell picked up the dog's attention immediately. I had something to meteor. What? I had nothing to meat eater. Oh, I had nothing no meat eater would be able to resist, especially not one that just spent a few days stranded out in the forest. I finished. I fished out the bag and pulled out Natalie's sandwiches. I'm sorry, Nat. It pains me to do this, but it's necessary sacrifice. I know you would understand if you were here. With a heavy heart, I grabbed one of the sandwiches Natalie made for me yesterday. It was probably not the healthiest food for an animal, but hey, he probably didn't care. Time for worrying about nutritional values would come later. I ripped the package apart and threw the content near the dog. It it disappeared faster than I thought possible. The dog must have been here for days. Wow, you must be really hungry, huh? No worries. There's more of it. I unpacked two more sandwiches and tossed them to the dog. With his fangs out of my way, I finally had my chance to take care of the rope. It was a thick one with a polyester cover. I didn't know much about ropes, but if I had to guess, I would say it was probably used for climbing or sailing somewhere where durability counts. The knots used to tie it around the tree wasn't tribal either. When the animal tugged in the attempt to free himself, it only grew tighter. It was at this point there was no way to untie it, not with a pair of sharp teeth ready to bite my arm off. I needed to cut the rope somehow. The problem was that I wasn't sure if I were prepared. I was prepared. I quickly recall all the things I had with me I could use. Okay, so we have another sandwiches, flashlight, pocket knife, and a rifle. Of course, the pocket knife would be simple, right? Well, an obvious choice. What else is the knife for? Sadly, it wasn't that easy. The knife was pretty dull. Why do you have a knife then? Still useful for things like opening cans, but not much for cutting with a rope so thick. It would have taken ages. Even have. Okay, I need something else. Okay. I guess the rifle. We would have to shoot the rope. Well, shooting through the rope seemed like something that could technically possibly be possible. Probably. I've seen it in movies countless times, but had serious doubt if it worked in real life. In the end, I concluded that trying would be a poor choice. Not only I couldn't predict if it would really work, but the sound of shooting would terrify the dog. Moreover, I couldn't hurt him in the process. I I needed to come up with something else. Are you kidding me? Okay, flashlights or batteries. What am I gonna do with batteries? Let's do this. I intended to use the batteries I had brought to situate the station in the flashlight, but as far as neither of the chances nor the need to do it, I took one out of the package. Of course. Natalie sandwich. Natalie sandwiches were doing a great job so far, and I still needed them to keep the dog occupied. Besides, it's not like I could use them from cutting anything. Flashlight. No, just no. There's no way to use a flashlight. Wait, I have an idea. A flashlight itself was useless to me, but the light bulb in the flashlight could be used for various things. Starting a fire was one of them. I took the flashlight apart and picked the bulb out. I don't know. I had all the things that I needed. Now was the time to see my plan in motion. Using the pocket knife, I broke the light bulb to expose the tungsten filament. Then I placed it on the rope and carefully touched the base of the bulb with the battery. The filament lit up immediately. The heat allowed me to melt the cover of the rope, which made cutting it much easier. As I cut the rope with my knife, I kept watching the dog. He sat there and was growling from time to time. I knew that he would attack if he sensed hesitation or fear. Dogs respond to emotions. I focused on the rope and tried not to think about him snapping at me. I took, I, it took me a couple minutes, but eventually the dog was free. Hey, buddy, your prison time is over. What do you want to do now? Not that you have much choice. Sorry, mate, but you look like a typical lap dog. Staying here is out of the question. Plus, your neck looks pretty bad. Someone should take care of it. Perhaps I know a guy but I need you to come with me back to my cabin. It's an hour's walk from here. So what do you think? Are you up for a stroll? I'll take that as a yes. It probably wasn't a yes. The dog was still wary and rather hesitant to follow me. No wonder it was impossible to tell how long he had been tied to the tree. Thankfully, last of the sandwiches did the trick. Oh, somewhere else. Who's this? Oh! Okay. Saturday, 16:01 outside the cabin. I was able to lead the dog all the way back to the cabin. I pulled my phone out and called for reinforcements. I knew how to patch up small patches, but this guy needed someone more skilled than me. Hi, veterinarian boy. Hi, Jack. You must have been good with the ladies. Yeah, sure. I need your help. You know a thing or two about treating animals, right? Yeah, a thing or two. Why? You had a change of heart about shooting animals? No, I still hold my point. But I found a dog tied to a tree. Some bastard left him there to die. He's in bad shape. Did you beat up the guy? No, but I would have if I had a chance. Anyway, the dog needs your attention. Wow, I mean, it's awful. Let me just grab up my gear and I'll be there. Are you going to leave your store unattended? Yeah, 2 hours won't hurt me. I've earned the weekend's money already. The troops that arrived recently at Murphy's base left a lot of cash. Alright, thanks, man. See you soon. Saturday, 17:23, inside the cabin. Bob came earlier than I expected. My guess, he had been speeding all the way. Hey, Jack, where's the patient? You don't waste any time, do you? Over there. It took some convincing to get the dog to walk to the door, but in the end, a prospect of a warm place to rest won him over. Bob approached the animal slowly. He clicked his tongue to get the dog's attention. Then he extended his hands so the dog could smell it. Unlike me, he seemed to know exactly what to do. Bob reached down to remove the collar, and I wonder if he would have been able to keep his hand intact. Fortunately, he was. Not only that, he also managed to clean the wound, even though the dog wasn't happy about it. The animal began growling and leaning away, but the fearless man grabbed him firmly. The dog calmed down. Although I wouldn't openly admit it, I was impressed. I would have never guessed that a simple guy from a small gas station knew much about handling animals. To be honest, I used to look down on him. I didn't know why exactly he had abandoned his studies. He seemed amazingly skilled. I doubt it was because of poor marks. All right, I did as much as I could. The wound isn't actually that bad. His neck is swollen and there was some bleeding, but the cut wasn't deep. He is a tough little fella. But remember, in the end, I'm not a specialist. You should take him to a professional. Yeah, I know. It's just that there's no vet around here, and driving this fellow back home with that wound would have been pretty bad on him. That's why I called you. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be open to trips with strangers yet. I also brought some dog food. Don't give him too much at once. If he didn't eat for a few days, he might not digest it properly. Anyway, what will you do with him? I don't know yet. When I found him, I just had to help him. I didn't have much time to think about what to do with him later. I don't feel like giving him away to a shelter. Maybe you could take him. He seems to trust you. I would love to have a dog, but you know fully well that I can't, Jack. Don't tempt me. Why not? You seem to be doing pretty well these days, and no, just no. You don't know how serious my debts are. I won't take responsibility for a living creature when I can't predict if I'll be able to pay my own bills next month. How a young guy like you got so much debt? Well, long story short, when I was still studying, me and my brother took over our father's company. It was a pretty bad shape. It was in pretty bad shape, but we were sure we could restore it and start making money. I op- I even dropped out of college to have enough time to make it work. It didn't work out. The amount of work overwhelmed both of us, but we didn't want to give up. We were stubborn people, me and my brother. Eventually, we went to a bank for a loan. That's how we ended up in debt. At one point in my brother's at one point my brother decided that it was all my fault, that I hadn't done enough, that I was slacking. He accused me of all the bad decisions I snapped and left. I've taken his gun with me. A few months later, I ended up here. Sounds tough. Yeah, I doubt there was nothing anything worse than losing your close one's support. Sometimes it's better to leave than to manage with a tough person. But hey, it's all water under the bridge. Unless my brother comes after me to collect his gun. I didn't know you had a gun. Well, I need to look after my business. You never know. What do you intend to do with the dog? Actually, I was thinking I was talking to Hope about adopting a dog yesterday right before we started arguing. You seem to argue with your family a lot recently. I can sense your anger, Jack. Oh, really? What is it? Does my aura give it away? See? It comes out again. Doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Anyway, Hope accused me for not spending enough time with her, so I was thinking maybe getting her a dog would be a good way of reconnecting with her. Sounds like we sounds like what she needs is your love, not a pet. A dog was just her way of drawing your attention. I know. I know. But it seems like a good start, right? Sure. Any reason to spend more time with your kid is good. You should give the dog a name. A name. Coming up with one was always tricky. It would have taken weeks if I was to really think think it through. I decided to just go with what came to my mind. I looked at the dog. He tilted his head. The first idea was pretty simple. Odin, Norse god of war, victory, and hunting. It was a good, strong name. The second one the second one that came to me was Xander. As a boy, I really hated learning history. Yet I always liked listening about Alexander the Great. It seemed more thrilling than the rest of the subjects. I wouldn't mind naming the dog after him. The last idea emerged when I thought of Hope. Uh, what was his favorite movie of hers called? Dragon something, and there was a dragon. There must be a brave knight to defeat it. This guy here was big enough to be called Knight. I decided to go with. Oh, and we get to. Hmm. I say we go with Odin because I do like Norse mythology myself. Uh, Xander, Alexander the Great, and a knight. I mean, Odin can technically be the knight. You know what I mean? So Odin. I'll name him Odin. It fits him well. By the way, Jack, there's one more thing I need to tell you. Don't tell me you and Nat have an affair. I would have to shoot you right here. Please don't. I still got my debts to pay off. What is it then? There is this chick at at the station asking for Hal. She said you knew. She said she knew you. Oh yeah. No, I mean she's just a chick I met and wanted help. She seemed out of place. At first I thought she was some kind of junkie. She gave me this really weird feeling. She was shivering too. Anyway, Hal took her to the station, so she's not my problem anymore. But that's not all. Another woman arrived last evening asking for after that chick. There was something about her that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And oh boy, was she a stunner. You should have seen her. She was lean like a doe. What was I saying? The other woman. Oh, yeah, right. She asked about the military base. I thought she might be a spook or something. A spook? You've been watching too many action flicks, Chief. I'm telling you, man, something's going on down. Something's going down. So many new soldiers arrived yesterday. Now this woman. There was also a guy with the briefcase this morning, and he. Hold up, Bob. You're getting carried away. It's just another weekend in town, only with some outsiders traveling through. Yeah, you're probably right. I better head back. Got a business to run. See you later, Chief. When Bob left, I approached Odin. I decided to try Bob's trick to see if he would gain. I would gain a similar result. I clicked my tongue and extended my hand. At first, the dog just sniffed my palm and reluctantly to do nothing more. But after a brief moment of hesitation, he licked my fingers. I took it as a good sign. It was a start. So, does this mean we're friends now? I scratched his back, causing a lot of tail wagging. It was just as I thought. He was a lapdog. His previous aggression must have been cause of a mixed fear and pain. As I patted him on the head, he was nothing more but a giant pet. A pet with a jaw full of fangs and enough biting force to take your hand off. Still, a pet. Hope would love him for sure. Funny that I came here to escape from all the tension with Natalie, but thanks to my new friend, I wanted to go back. I wanted to see the surprise in their face. I wanted to see how happy Hope would be and how Natalie, unsure at first, would change her mind as soon as she saw them playing together. I knew it would have. I knew it wouldn't resolve all our issues. That I would still need to face my shortcomings. The dog gave me a starting point. I knew what to do, and had the confidence to do it. It didn't take Odin long to start frolicing around. I wasn't against the little wrestle playing, but knowing that the wound on his neck was still pretty fresh, I tried to do it as carefully as possible. Yet, when nearly 30 kilos of deadly fluffiness jumped me, I got overturned in a moment. I was too afraid to grab the dog by the skin. Soon, I regretted I hadn't done it, as our little play caused additional cost. I heard a loud crack near my right pocket. Okay, buddy, stop. That's enough. No, Odin, enough. Sit. When I finally managed to get from under the dog, I reached into my pocket, only to find that my phone took a whole Enterprise pretty bad. The screen was covered in cracks, and the battery went loose, and the frame above the speakers was smashed. For a second, I thought it was done for. Fortunately, as soon as I put the battery back on the phone, it came back to life. It was the case was cracked, but it was still usable. In the end, I decided to call it a night. It had been a long day. I planned on going for a hunt in the morning, so hitting the bed early was crucial. Oh, somewhere else. There's a hot lady. Reporting in. This is not a scheduled call, Agent. The woman got away. No one told me what to expect of her. She attacked several people at the hospital. I saw her. Calm down, Agent. This wasn't in the briefing. The girl basically bit her way out of the hospital and jumped off the third-story window. She was like mad. I've never seen anything like that, and others. The locals are shocked. Sheriff wants to organize a manhunt, but I've already seen soldiers from the military base moving around the town. The town will undergo a quarantine in a matter of 2 hours. This should make your second task easier. Your briefing. Listen to me. If what she is carrying is infections, your quarantine won't be able to contain it. People will die. I need to find her. Calm down, Agent. Focus on your second target and let us do our part. What about our extraction? You'll figure something out. Your task is to secure the scientist and get him out alive. And the second asset? He is none of your concern. Find the scientist, get him out alive, bring him to us. Do not fail this time. We will be Uh, we would be very sorry to see you go. Sunday, 5:37 inside the cabin. It was still dark outside when I woke up. Odin was sleeping in the carpet near the fireplace. I rubbed my eyes and reached down for the phone to check the time. Weird. Seems the battery's dead. I was pretty sure it was around 40% the evening before. It seemed impossible to have this charged overnight. I must have forgot to turn it off or something. There was nothing I could do about it now. I plugged the charger in and went to wake up my new friend. Hey, buddy, are you in for a hunt? Come on, you'll like it. I could use some help. Think you're up for it? That's more like it. To be honest, I had no idea if taking Odin was a good idea. Okay, there was a pretty big chance he would scare off all the other animals away. People often hunted with their hounds, but you needed to know how to train your dog for it. Worst case scenario, we would just have a nice stroll around the forest. I took my pocket knife, my rifle, and a piece of bandage with me. I wanted to be prepared better than the day before. Oh, look at that. Sunday, 6:15 in the forest. I know the area surrounding the cabin pretty well. I had a general idea where deers tended to roam, even if I wouldn't shoot anyway. It was always great to spot one. That's what I had tried to communicate to Bob. It's not all about the shot; it's about the hunt. We were always walking quiet. We were quiet. We were walking quietly for an hour. I was thinking about the guy who had left Odin. I had no respect for such person. I remembered the rope it must have belonged to the climber or somebody worked at the boats. Bastard. Suddenly Odin stopped and started sniffing around. I knew he must have caught a trace. I had a feeling he was a real predator after all. I decided to trust his instincts. The dog's sense of smell could guide you to places you would have otherwise missed. He stood still for a minute, focused on one direction. He began to growl, but I couldn't see anything. The dog began to run. I struggled to keep up with him. I was trying to guess what we both were up against, a bear or a deer or something else. However, what I saw was a person, a young man in blue shorts, jacket, and a baseball hat. Silver carabiners at his belt rattled as he walked. Compared to me, he made a hell of a lot of noise. I had never seen him before. What I did recognize, though, was the place where we were in, the same place where I found Odin the day before. Before I had a chance to connect the dots, all hell broke loose. The two of us weren't the only people around. There was someone else. Someone I didn't expect to see again. It was the woman from the gas station, Jane. She was moving extremely fast. She ran up the unsuspecting guy and jumped right on top of him, knocking him down. She leaned down towards his arm and... Oh, man, I mean, you messed up, buddy. You gave her your address. That's when the scream started. At first, I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. My mind tried to come up with some kind of explanation. Maybe there was just fooling around. Maybe it was some stupid charade. Maybe I was daydreaming. It took some time before the reality of what happened hit me fully. I would never forget the sight. Oh my gosh, she's eating him. Jane bit off a part of the guy's arm out. Hold up. Jane bit a part of the guy's arm out and swallowed it. I saw her face. She was covered in blood. When she bent down again and sank her teeth in the guy's throat, it was no longer a human face. She was devouring a living person. Can you imagine it? The guy was screaming in pain. He was trying to push her off, but he didn't have enough strength. When she reached for the neck, it was already too late for him. Soon the screaming was replaced with gargling and gnawing. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear. Odin reacted first. He lunged at Jane, clenching his jaws to her hand. No, Odin, you dingus! Oh. I don't know where her strength came from, but she tore the dog's jaw open and threw him away as if You were a paper doll. Odin dead. Oh, Odin, you dingus. That's when she noticed me. Even though there was more than 20 meters between us, I could see her eyes. They weren't human anymore. She wasn't human. She was something else. There was nothing in her face beside a primal rage. It was ancient fury of a wild beast in its most basic form. Oh my gosh, she lunged right at me. Her moves were quick and determined. She caught up with me, and before I had a chance to think, moments like this make you act on instinct. Shoot her, dude. I never gave it a conscious thought. I raised my rifle. My body acted in its own, recognizing the familiar motion. I aimed and took one shot. For a split second, my mind became crystal clear. I wasn't sure if it would make a difference. I breathed out and waited the sentence. It was enough. I shot her in the right in the chest, and through the lungs. She was squirming in the grass, whimpering as her breath grew desperate and her moves sluggish. She started crying. When I shoot animals, I always make sure they don't suffer. If my shot missed the mark, I shoot again. But this was different. I stood above a young woman crying for pain, a woman who tried to eat a man alive a few seconds prior, a woman who I had met 2 days earlier. It was what was I supposed to do? Shoot her again, run away, try to help, knock her out. Try to help her out. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Knock her out. Why would I want to knock her out? I think we should just do it. I couldn't stand the sight anymore. I reached for my rifle and took aim. As I looked through the gunshot, our eyes met again. This time something was different. She was calm. It looked as if her eyes begged for me to end the pain. These weren't the eyes of a beast anymore. It was her. I couldn't bring myself to speak her name. Oh! The shot broke a dead silence in the forest. I'm not sure how long I was still staring at her empty eyes. They were mesmerizing. At one point, it came to me. It was the first time I had ever shot another human. I was a murderer. I killed a person. It didn't matter why. I ended life for somebody who had a family, who had friends and dreams. I took it all away. I threw up. As I was struggling to catch my breath and get a grip on myself, I remembered that Odin was still out there, and I had to find him. The first thought that came was that was Natalie. I touched my pocket, feeling for my cell phone. I need to get back to the cabin. As I decided to head straight back to the cabin, I heard a quiet whine. I looked around, frantically searching for Odin. He was near, whimpering softly and licking the face of the dead man. Damn it! I wondered if that was his former owner. If so, what was he doing here? Had he came to end the unfinished business, too afraid that someone would find out, or maybe he had a change of heart and came to get his dog back? Guess we'll never know. I called out to Odin and started running back. He followed me, limping after getting hit. Like that was no wonder. Birds are getting restless. I had no idea what was going on and why that woman attacked me. The only thing I knew was for certain that I needed to call Natalie. I had to make sure she was safe. There was no time to waste. I picked up my pace. Sunday, 7:10, inside the cabin. The sight of a massacre was still fresh in my head. With all my might, I tried to think about something else, but the memory of blood and the torn out fragments of flesh was haunting me relentlessly. It was like a horror movie playing over and over right in front of my eyes. My stomach turned upside down whenever I thought about what happened. I couldn't picture Jane's eyes staring back at me when I had taken the shot. I knew it was the right thing to do. It had to be done. I had shot a young woman point blank in the head. There was nothing I could have done for her at that point. She was dangerous. I saw what she had done to the other guy. She came after me like an animal. It was either me or her. I was the one with the rifle. Deep in my mind, I thank God. I was grateful that she wasn't as young as she wanted to appear. I wouldn't mind bringing myself to shoot a child. I couldn't stop my hands from shaking. I clenched my teeth, tried to focus. I thought about having myself some whiskey, but I wasn't sure if it would make any difference. I needed to talk with somebody. I needed to talk to Natalie. God, I miss her. My hand shook when I reached for my phone. I unplugged it from the charger and pushed the power button. I wanted to make the call immediately, but as soon as the phone came back to life, I got flooded with messages. Missed call, missed call, missed call, voicemail, missed call, missed call. There was at least dozens of unread messages. They're all from yesterday. How was it possible for me to miss so many calls? When I looked at back my phone and realized how, when I back when I was playing with Odin, the screen must have wasn't the only thing that got smashed. It was I must have damaged the speaker. The phone must have been constantly ringing. I thought I couldn't hear it. That would also explain why it was discharged in the morning. But who was calling me so many times and why? I needed to hear the voicemail, but the speaker wouldn't work. I did the silliest thing that came to my mind. I punched the goddamn thing. You know what? It worked. I quickly connected to my voicemail. You have 4 new messages. First message recording on Saturday, 11:48. Jack, please pick up the phone. This junkie they brought in yesterday, she snapped. I mean, God. She attacked some of the staff. There were only 3 of us. Another nurse and Dr. Jacob got bitten and scratched. I've never seen anything like that. I'm okay, but she jumped out of the window and vanished. I'm worried about Hope. I'll be heading back. Call me back soon. I need you. I need you so much. Please let me know that you are all right. Second voice message recorded Sunday at 15. Jack, pick up the phone, please. Why don't you call me back? You need to get back here, Jack. The people I've told you about are getting worse. Some of them have terrible fever. One got really aggressive, and we needed to sedate him. Something's not right. Please call me back as soon as you get this. I'm scared. Third new message recorded on Sunday, 1:32 a.m. Jack, I can hear gunshots here in the hospital. I need you to get back right now. I'm so scared, Jack. Oh no. And that's it. Message recorded. Fourth new message recorded on Sunday, 4:56 a.m. I'm coming for you, Jack. I left Hope with stay where you are. The message ended abruptly. Then it hit me. Sunday, 4:56 was 3 hours ago. All of this had already happened, and Natalie is busting through. Oh my God. Well, Natalie's there, man. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. After the voicemail stopped playing, I just stood there staring at the screen. I guess I needed a moment to process what had happened. As soon as I snapped out of my stupor, I knew what I had to do. I had to find Nat. My first instinct was to call her, but my phone had enough. The goddamn machine broke completely. The screen went black, and it couldn't respond to me pressing the keys. Odin seemed to sense distress. He came closer, woofing. Do you want to help me, buddy? I had a little choice. I took Odin and went off. I knew that Natalie had been coming for me, and I knew the route she must have taken. It was a long road, but I had no other means of finding her. With the dog in my sight, I clung to what little hope I had left. I scarcely remember getting into the car and setting off. Sweat trickled down my back and back the entire way. I wasn't speeding only because I worried I missed her. Eventually, I found our roadster and crashed beside the road. I parked there and went out. Natalie was nowhere to be seen. My heart skipped a beat. I scanned the surroundings. My thoughts scrambled. I couldn't bear the thought that the last memory of Natalie would have of me would be that of an absent jerk. That our argument would be the last time we saw each other. I had to find her. I had to find her and make things right. But for all my determination and efforts, Odin was the one who found her. He darted off the road and into the forest. I followed. I didn't think much. It was an instinct. I guess I trusted him. It didn't take long. We didn't even move far from the car before I saw her stumbling between the trees. She didn't seem to recognize me. Her eyes were dazed, her skin dead pale. I didn't know what to do. She was wounded. I could see it. a piece of her shirt wrapped around her arm. I left her again. I had left her again. I wasn't there when she needed me the most. What was I to tell her? Calm her. Nat! Jack, where are you? Jack! Natalie, I'm right here, homie. I'm literally right in front of you. It's going to be all right. I'm here. I cradled her. She took in my arms, but calmed down a little bit. Jack, is that you? Yes, it's me, sweetie. I'm so sorry I broke the car. Forget about the car, silly. Oh, it's silly? I don't know. Everything will be fine. I could see her shiver. At first, I thought it was because of the car crash or her wound. Then I realized. Then the realization hit me. We were in the middle of the forest, the place that Natalie truly feared. Yet she still came here for me. After all I said and done, she was an angel of courage. What happened in the hospital? You wouldn't believe me. Try me. They brought in a young woman with strange symptoms, weak yet explosive. She had a bite mark in her forearm. She thought she thought she might. Or we thought she might have auto-destructive impulse. She said she was hungry, but she wouldn't touch any food. We put her on a drip. We didn't know her. We didn't know how to help her. One day later, Dr. Jacobs came to check up on her, and she snapped. She scratched and bit him and the nurse who tried to restrain her. She dashed out of her room, and attacked several other patients. Then, when security guard tried to shoot her, she jumped out of the window from the third story. Then she fled. I've had no idea what happened to her. We took care of the Dr. Jacobs, the patients, but things got weird. I felt queasy. I didn't like where this was going. Still, I had to ask. Weird how? They got terrible fevers. We couldn't bring them down, and sheriff declared a manhunt. We mobilized officers. I think the military got involved too. They set up checkpoints for some reason. It was like they were trying to keep people in. When then there was that woman. It's hard to say who she was. I swear to God, I was sure she was my coworker, but it turned out she wasn't. I don't know who she was. What about you? Are you hurt? I'm fine. I was worried about you. Why didn't you call me back? My throat clenched when I thought about what happened in the morning. Now Natalie's patience ended up. I shouldn't lie to Nat. There was already too much bad blood between us. She she deserved my honesty. Then again, after all she went through, wouldn't it be even more cruel to tell her what happened? I swallowed and decided to. I say tell her everything, man. This is pretty much the part where you just confess everything. Like right now, things are happening in town, and we are in smack in the middle of it. I told her how I found Odin and how he broke my phone. What came next was more difficult. I had to tell Nat about the patient, about her patient, how I found her, and that she was too far gone to save her now. Why did the camera move that way, huh? That I had shot her in self-defense. If Natalie had been pale before, now she was sickly. I didn't know if it was because of what Jane had turned into or because of what I've done. And at any rate, it wasn't the worst of it. Natalie interrupted me only once. God, I didn't think. How could that happen? I have no idea if it was as if she turned into an animal. But she was human, Jack, just only 2 hours ago. I know, Nat. But listen, I didn't have a choice. I had to defend myself. I understand. She attacked me, Nat, not the other way around. Remember that. The worst part was what happened later. I had to confess to killing that woman, as if she was a morbid animal. I didn't try to sugar it. Yes, I had thought that it was mercy, but it was still a kill. I would never forget the look on Natalie's eyes. It haunted me to this day. To disbelieve the pain. Still, Nat was a strong woman. She was a strong woman. She hid her emotions quickly. We both had more important things to do than dwelling in the past. What happened to Hope? Is she still at home? God, no, I wouldn't leave her at home. I took her with me, but she was scared, and I thought I didn't know what happened to you. I was worried she might have. What? So, she dropped her off at Bob's. Okay, he promised to take care of her, and I trust him. We're supposed to meet outside the town. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Well, shoot me. For the moment, back then, I felt relief. I thought that regardless of what happened to me and Nat, at least our daughter was safe. I didn't know anything. Oh, Bob. Oh man. What the hell happened here? Oh no, Bob. End of part 1. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Credits to all these people that made this to made part 1 happen, man. Unbelievable. Thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so. The links will be in the description below. What's gonna happen? Oh, we're back in the beginning. Anything I want to share with you guys, I'll definitely post it on Twitter and Instagram. I am a digital artist, and I do post every Wednesday and Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. California time. And if you guys want to see my work, I invite you guys to come over and check it out. Listen, go to the woods, all right? Go to the woods and be careful, because you don't know what's out there, okay? But look behind a tree. It could be any tree, but the tree will be more or less, visible. Like you will know which tree to look for. Look behind the tree, and behind the tree is going to be a box. It's going to be a red box. Click it, and you'll be subscribed. And not only that, you'll be a part of Mystery Gaming Incorporated. And once you do, all right, once you do, we will give you, extra batteries. We'll give you like a full surplus of, like survival kit, a survival kit, just in case something like this happens in your little town called Riverdale. I had to, dang it, because I've been watching a lot of Archie in Pluto TV lately, man. Anyways, yes, in the comment section down below, tell me how long did it take you to find the tree, because a lot of people say that the tree has different colors, but not all of them are the same, Hey, who knows? Maybe you found a really cool looking tree. You should take a picture of it. And of course, like the video too. And everyone, please have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Wow. Part 1 of Perseverance, man. We see Bob die. What happened to the daughter? Who knows? The agent, or whatever her name at, we still don't even know her name. She found Bob in the gas station all messed up, dude. I got a bad feeling about this. I think this has something to do with not zombies, but like I guess like World War Z zombies. You know what I mean? Oh, that's even worse. Even my birds know it's worse. See you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Wow. Oh, by the way, I don't know if it's still free, but if it is, I say you guys should just get it for yourself, man. Have it on your collection, play it through. Part 2 maybe will come soon. Who knows? But get it if it's still free.